Welcome back to Breakfast Central. Now, this month of May is a Pre-Eclampsia Awareness Month, and just yesterday, the 22nd of May, of course, was a World Pre-Eclampsia Day. Now, eclampsia is a severe complication of pre-eclampsia. It's a rare but very serious condition where high blood pressure results in seizures during pregnancy. Now, seizures are periods of disturbed brain activity that can cause episodes of stirring, decreased alertness, and convulsions, violent shaking. Eclampsia affects about 1 in every 200 women with preeclampsia. You can develop eclampsia even if you don't have a history of seizures.
The following are common symptoms of preeclampsia, and these are elevated blood pressure, swelling in your face or hands, headaches, excessive weight gain, nausea, and vomiting, just to mention a few. Now, joining us this morning is award-winning media personality Shine BEGHO, who has chosen to create more awareness of preeclampsia. Thank you so much for joining us, Shine, and good to see you.
Good morning, News Central team. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate this.
Absolutely. First of all, let's start by extending our condolences and sympathy to you and your family. We learned that you lost your child to this illness.
Yes, I did. That was way back in 2016. And after that happened to me, that's when I decided, look, we need to create more awareness about this because nobody's really speaking up in Nigeria compared to other diseases like cancer and all that. People do a lot of awareness for that, but nobody's saying anything or doing anything for the pregnant women who their life is in danger. You know, just being pregnant alone, it's not easy. And then there's so many complications attached to it. And preeclampsia is one really silent killer that kills a lot of pregnant women every year. It's so funny that it's not funny, but the rate at which women die is really high, especially in developing countries like Nigeria. You know, so according to rankings for preeclampsia rate, Ghana is #1 globally, and then Nigeria is #3, Jamaica is #2. So that means in Africa, after Ghana, Nigeria is, you know, #2. So we need to really raise a lot of awareness, you know. During my time in the hospital, because I was hospitalized, you know, my case was very severe. And the doctors were like, no, you can't go home. We have to manage you because we don't know what will happen to you if you're home with no medical person around. So I ended up staying in the hospital for close to 4 months because mine really started early. I think I was there for like 3.5 months in the hospital, you know. So yes, basically. So since then it's been a roller coaster ride. I can remember one night, this was really crazy because the doctors were like, look, if we didn't do what we had to do, you would have either gone into a stroke or slipped into a coma. There was a night that my blood pressure was extremely high. They said they've never seen that sort of readings before. And before I knew it, I saw doctors, nurses, different injections, things flying out from nowhere. You know, it was a chaotic night. You know, and it's one night I can never forget, though, you know, and I was really glad to be alive, you know, so yes.
So are we as well. Shine, talk to us about, you know, the awareness. You've given us really shocking statistics about how much this is a silent killer, but we don't get to see a lot of people talk about it. Talk about the awareness of preeclampsia, pre your awareness drive that you started and post, you know, how has it been so far?
Okay, so basically I started the preeclampsia awareness this year because like I said, I've been working on it since 2016. So I started this year, and this month is preeclampsia month. So I decided, look, it's the drive, everything has to be really, really crazy. So at the end of the day, so far, it's been really good. I see women coming up and talking about how they survived, and they're happy that I'm doing something like this because they made me understand that, look, if they had an awareness about this thing, they could have done some things differently. They could have maybe changed some of their lifestyles and things like that differently, you know, to maybe try and curb it. Because the truth is, preeclampsia doesn't have any cure. There's no cure for preeclampsia. There is no cure at all, so the only thing is to manage it. And the only way to cure preeclampsia is to remove the baby from the mother, meaning you have to do an emergency delivery, basically. So yes,
Really
so far it's been great. Like my little cousin, her best friend at the moment as we're speaking, she's in a coma, and that's due to preeclampsia. The baby, they were able to get the baby out, but the mother slipped into a coma, and it's been weeks now, and she's not been up. That is how crazy and deadly preeclampsia is. You can't really tell, what would happen to you. So that's why the doctors are really careful, and they try to prevent anything at all. So be it coma, they try to prevent you from going into shock or stroke and things like that. Because it could also result to you being brain dead. It's crazy. Lungs failure, kidney failure. So there's so many things. And also the way I'm preaching the awareness, because I've also noticed that a lot of women, even though they can afford antenatal, some of them, after some time, they stopped going for antenatal care because it's more like, oh, you know what, I'm okay, I'm not high risk, I keep doing the same test, I'm all right. But you see, preeclampsia can come in at any time, so you just have to go. Sometimes it can come even lesser than 20 weeks, but after 20 weeks is more usually, it's when
Let's just get you to go ahead and share on diagnosing preeclampsia. And how it can also be avoided. There's certain lifestyle changes that need to be made, when a woman, gets pregnant. What exactly, needs to be done to avoid it? And how can it be diagnosed?
First of all, how preeclampsia can be diagnosed. First of all, you need to know some of the symptoms, okay? Because it's not just for the doctors to, that you're pregnant, you also need to know the symptoms so that when you start seeing things like this, then you know what to do. You know that you have to run to the hospital and, get help. So, elevated high blood pressure, your blood pressure keeps increasing. But that one is, if you have a blood pressure machine at home, it's always good to have that at home. But if not, you always have to wait to your antenatal. But then swelling of the face, swelling of the hands, the feet, of course, some of these things look like normal symptoms, pregnancy symptoms, especially that of, swelling. But the truth is, when it becomes really severe, you know that there's a difference. For me, I just say that, look, swelling is not allowed, basically. So once you start swelling, you have to watch it. Weight gain in the shortest period of time, because that's the weight gain thing to add to it. So when you start adding weight, unnecessarily, not the usual way you're supposed to add weight during pregnancy, that's also a sign of preeclampsia. And then you're not peeing regularly, it means your body is retaining a lot of, fluids, and that's not allowed, So some women are like, oh, my pregnancy is fine, I hardly pee, like the way other women go to, they're always going to the bathroom to take a leak, but I hardly do that. That's one sign. So you need to pee. You understand? So yes, that's also another thing. Then headaches, crazy headaches. Sometimes it even gets to blinding headaches where you start seeing flashes of lights, and your vision is really, it's not as good as it used to be. That is also a sign of preeclampsia. And of course, the usual vomiting and nausea. So when you see all those things, you know that, look, I need to go to the hospital. And then in the hospital, when you go for your antenatal care, they always do they always check your high blood pressure. And at the same time, they also do urinary test. That's a protein in your urine. They have to check if you've got protein in your urine, which is really, really important. So when they see that, they also start, watching you. Okay. And then at one time, they'll start telling you, what, instead of coming monthly, we need to see you weekly, because they're trying to, see how, if this thing is increasing, do we need to put her in the hospital and manage her properly? So that's why I always tell women, please always go for your antenatal care.
Absolutely.
And another problem is I see a lot of women thinking like these hospitals just want to take their money and go and stuff like that, but it's your health. All right. It is your health. That's the truth. You
Thank you very
have to
much.
be strong for yourself and your child.
Thank you very much, Shine. You couldn't have said, we couldn't have said it any better. But before we let you go, fast run out of time in 30 seconds. I would like you to please address some of the biases that we have, our customs and the religious inhibitions that sort of forbid women talking about conversations like this, conversations about losing a child, conversations about preeclampsia. We find a lot of inhibitions. What would you say to us to encourage more people to speak up? What would you say in that regard, very quickly?
The truth is, when you've seen people die from this thing, you don't have a choice than to speak up. When you lose someone from it, like personally, I lost a son, so it has made me speak up. Look, I really don't care about, oh, this is culture, we don't talk about this, we don't talk about that. I'm not that sort of person. I will talk. Okay, I will talk. I'm a journalist, so I will talk, so I'm just begging everybody, if you're going through this, you need to talk. Okay, talk about it, ask for help, let people help you, because the truth is sometimes at the end of the day, your mental health is very important. I know I went into a bit of a shock after my son died, and I was just happy for my husband, for being there for me. And the truth is, preeclampsia is not just for the women. The men also need to know about these things so that they know how to take care of their women, to be a stronghold, to be there for them. Because the truth is, if you're not there for the woman, they would eventually, take, let the disease or the condition take over, because there's nobody to give them that support. So men, I'm also urging you, it's not just the women now. You have to know about preeclampsia, and you also have to be there for your woman. All right. Basically.
Thank you so much. We must commend you for what you're doing. And of course, looking forward to seeing your efforts crowned with success in reaching out to as many women as possible and changing the narrative concerning preeclampsia. Thank you so much, Shine BEGHO, for your time.